Hey everybody, Paul here with PTZOptics, and in this video, I want to show you the brand new Instant Replay vMix system with PTZOptics. It's so cool. I am so excited. So one of the cool things we can do now is live telestration with a wireless tablet for your live streams. This works great with vMix. It works good with NDI video sources. And this is an instant replay system. So what I'm about to show you is a video that has been recorded with a PTZOptics Move 4K. Okay, this is a 4K video, 60 frames a second. And what I can do is I can actually slow it down, scrub through the video, and annotate on top of this. So this allows coaches to look deeply at the footage and figure out exactly what areas they want to show. We have the ability to deliver this with a broadcast controller like the X Keys system. Okay. And so this is the X Keys system here. This is the X Keys. I believe it's the 64 button controller, and we can look at this as well. So we have this controller, and then we also have this is the X Keys XKE64 replay system. I'll show you how this works. But we also have buttons on the Telestrator. So the Telestrator itself, which is included with vMix 4K, vMix Pro, and vMix Max, this is just a web browser input. So I'm going to show you how this works. But essentially, once you bring your PTZOptics cameras into vMix, you can now deliver them wirelessly to a touchscreen and give coaches or different players the ability to fast forward, go through, and slow motion, slow down video, and annotate on exactly what they need to show the players, the referees, and it's really a powerful system. So I want to show you how this works. So first of all, in vMix, vMix is a video production and video switching software. We can add cameras to vMix. And one of the things we'll do, just as an example here, is I'll show you how easy it is to add an NDI camera, a PTZOptics NDI camera into vMix. We have lots of different cameras here. The cameras will be pulled in with basically stream one, the IP NDI stream from a PTZOptics camera. So if we choose this camera here, for example, we'll see it's coming in at 1080p at 30 frames a second. Now, you may want to set up your PTZOptics camera to come in at 4K at 60 frames per second, for example, especially when you are doing instant replay. You're likely going to want to bring in your cameras at least at 60 frames a second, whether you're doing 1080p or 4K, is depending on your system. But you're definitely going to want to bring in the cameras at 60 frames per second here. So we're going to go ahead and turn on NDI HX3, which is a 1080 60 frame per second stream, and hit apply here. And what I'll have to do is I'm going to reboot this specific camera. And then when I bring it into vMix, it will be bringing in the full 1080p, 60 frames a second, NDI HX3, which is the latest version of NDI, into vMix. So this camera here was set to 1080p 30. We're going to bump that up to 60. Now, when you're doing instant replay, okay, with vMix, it's a really, really cool system. As you can see here, I've got some footage in here. I've got a jog dial, so I can slowly kind of get to the spot I want. I've got a wheel where I can scrub through the video, pick a spot, and say, okay, so I've got this wheel here for jogging, going frame by frame. And then on the outside, I have the ability to kind of scrub through a little bit more quickly. And just to show you kind of high level how this works, there's also uh, a instant replay speed playback T-bar. Okay, so the way this works is when I play an instant replay clip, there's a play button on here too. When I hit play, okay, let's go ahead and hit play on this. I have to make sure I have the right clip enabled. All right, here we go. Oh, because I have speed at 0. Okay, so I hit the play button, but I had speed at 0. This controls the speed. So we can slow it down, play it back in slow motion, and then we can just say, all right, pause it right there. That's where I want it. Scrub it back a couple clicks, right? And there was a spot right about here where I want to annotate on top of this. and I want to talk about the play. This is the technology here that we're using. So I want to go over how all of this works. So when you bring in a camera into vMix, you're going to want to have it set, as we talked about, to be in 1080p at 60 frames per second, or 4K at 60 frames per second. So now when we look at the frame rate here, we can see we're at 60 frames per second. Now the way vMix works is vMix Instant Replay. When you add an instant replay source here, which we've actually already done, so I'm not going to do this twice, but you need to lock in the resolution and frame rate so that all cameras are the same. That's important when you're doing multi-camera instant replay. In fact, vMix can support up to 8 channels of instant replay, and we can also have the transition be a stinger. And I want to show quickly what a stinger is. So when we do a stinger input, what that does is it's very popular in sports. It's used to signal that an instant replay is about to come up, right? So when you do a stinger transition, you're transitioning from one clip to another, and you are letting the viewers know, okay, we are leaving live footage and going to an instant replay. So this is a really powerful system to do this with. And Mike just showed another instant replay there, or sorry, a stinger there. And so this is just really powerful. So now I want to show a little bit about how to set up a Telestrator in vMix and then some of the features of the Telestrator. Now, if we go into settings in vMix, we're going to want to go to the web controller. And the web controller, this is an IP address that when enabled, basically allows you to control vMix remotely. And the web controller is an IP address. You can type it into any web browser. I'm using Google Chrome on a wireless touchscreen tablet here. I'm choosing the video source that we'll be using. It's just 2 megabits per second, but that's plenty for what we're doing here. I've noticed the quality's fine. And then you can have a username and password if you want. You don't have to, but if you're on a school network or corporate network where you don't want other people to just find this IP address and use vMix, you can set up a password. So once this is all enabled and you click OK, essentially the web browser that you go to will allow you to start to telestrate and access this. So this is basically a live footage that I have here. I'm using my scrub dial to go through it. And I want to show you some of the features here. So first of all, we have the ability to change the color. So you could do a couple different things here with color. One of my favorite features, you can change the thickness of the line, for example. We have the ability to do a square, a circle, things like that. But vMix is slowly adding a lot of really cool features. And one of my favorites here is the ability to select like a player area there. So just say, all right, this player here, this player here. And it's got like a pretty cool little, 3D effect. You have to kind of work on getting that right. Looks like kind of it can take a little time to get that correct, but you can learn how to use that. And then another one is especially for coaching here. You could say, all right, number 1 is where she's holding the racket here. Number 2 is her foot location. And if we scrub a little further, what we see, is essentially, oh, went too far there for my clip, is where she's hitting the ball. So that the kind of like counter. So you can just do, 1, 2, 3, and then see how this is going. So from a coaching perspective, your ability to take live footage, slow it down in instant replay, and show it like this is really powerful. Now, at the bottom here, you have the ability to add 10 custom buttons. This is perfect for coaches. So you could say, all right, I'll give you the rewind button. So you can rewind it a little bit. You can fast forward it. You could set up so that you can just go 1 frame up. I haven't done that yet, but you can very easily kind of pause and play the video here. So I'll show you how this works. But essentially, not only is vMix giving you a low latency live video preview, which you can control the quality of. So depending on your Wi-Fi network, you got a lot of play here. But you can also give 10 buttons here to allow the coaches, the referees, the people who are using this touchscreen tablet some control. So let me show you how those work. So if we go back into vMix here and we look at the settings for this is the settings for hotkeys is what vMix calls them. you can add a hotkey for, let's say, let's see if they have one for scrub. Um, I mean, I call it scrub video. Let's see if there's one for frame. Replay jump frames. So I haven't tested this one yet, but essentially what you can do here is you can click a button to show in Telestrator, and this is called jump frames. I haven't tried this yet, but we'll go ahead just for the sake of this. vMix has hundreds and hundreds of functions that you can use here, and these are all the ones for replay. So, I'm not going to go into all of this right now. We are going to create another video that goes into really designing this Telestrator for a coach, a referee, or a sports, analytics type of situation. But for now, if we go back to our Telestrator here in vMix, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to refresh the browser. Now we see we've got this jump to frame button. So I'm going to have to look into what that does. It takes a little time to get all of this configured properly. But as you can see here, you could do any shortcut in vMix. So it could be a record. It could be, you could have someone literally sitting on with a wireless tablet on the side of a football game or a tennis match, any sport, and literally mark in and mark out an instant replay, replay that, stop it, record it, telestrate on top. And the way that the vMix telestration system works, if you go back to my vMix screen here, the telestrator itself is an overlay. So the broadcasters back at the vMix booth can decide whether or not they want to show the instant replay or the annotation or not. So it's a really, really powerful system. I'm super excited about all of this technology coming together. You've got your PTZOptics cameras doing really powerful auto tracking of sports. We're showing the Zcam 4K here, ability to do 4K and 1080p at 60 frames a second. So capturing really high quality instant replays and then delivering that to a wireless tablet with all of these controls. It's really, really exciting. I am going to be writing about this in my book. So How to Live Stream Sports Like a Pro is available for download. You can get it in the links below. Really excited for you guys to get this. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and feel free to email me at any time at paul@ptzoptics.com. See you in the next video.